Thank you, Anna. Welcome to BBC Spotlight here in the South West. Now, with less than a week to go until the budget, small businesses are worried too many changes at once will have a negative impact on them. There's concern the decisions announced by the Chancellor on Wednesday will mean an increase in costs. Miles Davis has been speaking to traders in Exeter.
Justine Hyde has added a cafe to her gift shop to bring in more money, but she's worried the Chancellor is going to take more than she gives.
I'm pretty worried that there might be a further increase in wages, salaries for my employees, or any change to national insurance contributions, any change to VAT. In fact, any increased cost to myself and my business is of high concern.
This businessman employs 34 people at his 2 restaurants in the city centre. He's worried the government's discount on business rates for the hospitality sector could come to an end next year.
So between both businesses, the reduction is about £55,000. So it's a huge amount of money that you've got to free up to be able to carry on running. We don't want to be making job cuts or anything like that.
Research shows Exeter is going from strength to strength as a shopping destination.
We're bringing people in from further and further afield. More and more affluent people are coming to visit Exeter as well, and we're retaining that position as in the top 1% of retail destinations, both nationally and regionally.
But business leaders say traders are potentially facing being hit by a handful of challenges, and all at once.
For businesses locally, the key things will be that, national insurance contributions, employers' national insurance contributions going up, an increase in the national minimum wage, employers' rights as well. All those things happening at the same time could really impact negatively on businesses. So whilst we recognise those things might need to happen, it is about the timeliness of those and how we can support businesses to be able to respond appropriately.
One thing small businesses would love to see is a reduction in VAT.
Because it's running at 20% and has been for a very long time, very few people will come into my shop and realise that out of £20 in the shop spent, a fifth of that, £4, goes off to the government as VAT. And that is a massive thing, to take 20% off a small business.
The Treasury said it wouldn't comment directly on any speculation ahead of the budget, but said it was supporting businesses on the high street through making the business rate system fairer. And so the anticipation continues ahead of next week's budget. Miles Davis, BBC Spotlight, Exeter.
Farmers in Somerset are warning that a scheme to turn land into salt marshes would destroy homes and livelihoods. 4 potential sites have been identified by the energy company EDF to reduce the impact of the Hinkley Point C nuclear power plant. It's intended to offset the number of fish which will be killed in their water cooling system. Plans for a previous location were dropped after local opposition.
The question is, can you create salt marsh, or will it just be silty, muddy, unusable land that actually is probably quite dangerous? So that's the real question. Will it be created, and what will be the value of that habitat? So what you're talking about is destroying one habitat to create another, which is of questionable nature.
There's been a big fall in the number of people taking up hairdressing and barbering apprenticeships in the UK, with the pandemic and low pay being blamed. But in Plymouth, that couldn't be further from the truth. One college is bucking that trend, but says more could be done to make apprenticeships in the sector more attractive. Eve Watson reports.
She's got a lip ring and 5 colours in her hair.
It's all about cutting, colouring and styling for Sarah.
So we've got the colour chart. And I'm thinking something along the lines of...
She's been doing her hairdressing apprenticeship for a year.
I've always wanted to do hair. Always, since I was a little girl. You get paid while you're learning, it's amazing. But I've managed to create a relationship with my future employer.
But new figures show there are fewer and fewer people like Sarah who are wanting to do hairdressing. The number of people taking up apprenticeships in hairdressing and barbering in the UK has fallen by 19% since 2021. There's a few reasons why there's been a drop.
people that are stopping on at school longer. The industry thrives on young talents. Parents want kids to go into colleges more because they actually keep, their benefits a little bit longer. So again, we're not getting talent into the sector.
It's a different story at Plymouth City College, though. They're bucking the trend.
So as an educationalist, what I would really like to see is much more confidence in the hairdressing profession, and for the government to actually raise the funding behind putting an apprenticeship and delivering an apprenticeship. So if we get more funding in terms of delivering apprenticeship, if the minimum wage goes up, so those people studying this amazing subject get paid a better salary and have a better standard of living, then that's all good for me.
Meanwhile, in Topsham, salon owner Ellie has made the decision not to take on any more hairdressing apprentices.
It just isn't worth it. It's not appealing as an employer or as a salon owner. It's just not worth it. So when you can just team together more as stylists and receptionists, and so that's what we do here now.
A spokesperson for the government says it's high time apprenticeships are taken seriously. They say they'll unlock opportunities to grow our economy. So, is it just a bad hair day for the hairdressing industry? And will more people like Sarah take up the job? Eve Watson, BBC Spotlight.
A special nesting spot for swans in Wadebridge has recently had a big upgrade thanks to local volunteers. The recent supermoon tides left it underwater, so a local team got together to build it higher to keep the swans' eggs dry.
Swans and the swan's nest have always been a part of the community. Children walk this way to school every day. They're always looking. They know immediately in the spring when the first egg is laid. They know when the first cygnet gets hatched. It's a major part of the community.
More on that story on Spotlight this evening. Now, Plymouth Argyle's dreadful away form continued last night with another defeat, this time at Millwall. The Pilgrims have only scored once away from home park all season, and they drew another blank in London. Instead, it was the home side who scored the only goal of the game to leave Argyle one place above the relegation zone with the worst away record in the Championship. Let's have a look at the weather forecast now, because it's actually been blissfully dry over the last couple of days or so. Is it continuing?
It has. Thanks, Victoria. It should continue for today, but tomorrow I think we'll see some rain. But it's good news after that. We see high pressure starting to dominate our weather, and that should settle things down. A lot of cloud out there at the moment, though, across the southwest. As we head through this afternoon, it should be mainly dry. The cloud will always be thick enough, I think, over the higher ground for some drizzle. Cloudy, breezy as well. Those southerly winds will start to pick up as we head through the end of the day. And that's thanks to this low pressure coming in from the west. So southerly winds over the next 24 hours. So it is going to stay fairly mild. But tomorrow in particular, for places like the Isles of Scilly, West Cornwall, those winds are going to be strong. Eventually, though, that clears away and we should start to see something a little bit more settled through Saturday and into Sunday. So there is a few bright spells out there, but I think you'll be quite lucky to see some sunshine. I think the sunny spells more frequent towards the east, further west a bit more cloud, and it could be thick enough in places for some light rain and drizzle. Temperatures, though, doing well, potentially not as mild as yesterday. We've got a bit more of a southerly breeze, especially along that coast, south coast, and highs of 18 degrees. Now, as we head through tonight, we do get those showers coming in. They will tend to band up to give longer spells of rain, and that could be heavy at times, particularly across the eastern parts of the southwest. Clear skies further west, not as chilly as it has been recently, lows of around 13 or 14 degrees. So a windy day tomorrow, those winds particularly strong through the Isles of Scilly, West Cornwall. The rain itself easing slightly into the afternoon where it becomes a little bit more showery. And I think we should see a little bit more sunshine as well tomorrow afternoon compared with today. But those winds are still going to be quite strong, widely gusting 40, maybe 45 miles an hour, potentially 50 to 55 for the Isles of Scilly through the course of the morning. For the Channel Islands, a quiet afternoon. We've got a lot of low cloud out there at the moment. Some sunshine to end the day. With that rain arriving overnight, that could be heavy at times. The winds here as well will start to strengthen, but it is going to remain mild. Those showers, the long spells of rain moving eastward, some sunshine actually tomorrow, but further showers will push in as the day goes on. The winds will pick up as well, so it is going to be quite windy, 30, maybe 40 miles an hour here, but it is staying mild with some sunny spells. Victoria.
Bea, thank you very much. And that's all from the Lunchtime team. We'll be back, though, with Spotlight at 6:30. I'll now hand you back to Anna Foster for the rest of the BBC News at 1.